Get some Taco Bell after this.
Oh shit. Yeah, I had some
Let's
old fucking
go.
pizza from like fucking Sunday, dude. It like wasn't good at all. So
Oh!
hello and welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. I am Matt Anderson. On the other side of your screen, we have Dorian Rose this week. How you doing, man? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Just here to kind of
Here it
celebrate
comes.
the moment. Cause yeah, I know that you've had a long week and I know that you didn't remember, but you know that I had to remember that your boy is the pick champ for the week, went undefeated. Now if I could have just transversed or translated that into some bets, that would have been an even better weekend for me. But we're doing good. The pick champ is here and we're here to defend the crown because that was a unanimous decision.
Indeed, indeed. He is this week's pick champ. That being said, before we get in the show, please put a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are not, and once again, put a comment below. Let us know you like what we're doing over here. If you think we're talking bullshit, any of that, just let us know in the comments. So let's get into the rundown for today's show just real quick. Up first, we're going to go to the results from this weekend. We're going to go over our certain picks, just a few quick hitters from there. Then we're going to go on to some fight news, and some upcoming fight announcements that have happened this past week, if you will. And then lastly, we will talk about the fight that I cannot wait to talk about. What I've been waiting for the longest. I know Dorian's excited too, but UFC 275, Glover Teixeira versus Jiri Prochazka is the main event. Co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko versus Talia Santos. And then the featured bout of the night, Jang Wae Lee versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Number 2, it's going to be a banger of a night. So that being said, once again, please put a thumbs up on the video. We'll greatly appreciate it. So let's get into it, man. First topic of today's show, results from this past weekend, dude. Since you're the reigning pick champ of the week, I'm going to let you start off, man. Where do you want to start at here?
We can start with the main event, man, and really just because I think it was just the biggest note from the whole fight card. And I think really for Volkov, you know, we had seen him come off that loss against Tom Aspinall. And man, I'm not going to lie, when he got smoked against Tom Aspinall like that, you know, Volkov's the guy who is going to give anybody a problem on any given night. And for him to get smoked in the way he did, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of like, man, is it almost time for him? But of course, going into this fight, we both had picked Volkov to beat Rozenstruik. I thought it was a good matchup for him, but he just seemed to come out. He had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He was a little bit more aggressive, and he was definitely putting his combinations together a lot better. And he was keeping the range, and you can see Rozenstruik was starting to get a little frustrated. He went to rush in and went to throw a bunch of haymakers, and Volkov got hit maybe with one kind of clean. Other than that, was able to really get out of the way, keep the distance, keep the head movement, and got Rozenstruik's back against the fence. And once he did, dude, he landed that big right hand, and for me, I thought it was a good stoppage overall. I don't know where you stand as far as the stoppage or anything goes, but I thought you could say maybe a hair early, but I didn't see Rozenstruik kind of recovering from that at all. But I just thought overall he just pitched I thought Volkov pitched a shutout, and he looked like he just had a chip on his shoulder coming off that Aspinall loss.
For sure, for sure. And it just shows how good Tom Aspinall is, dude. Tom Aspinall is a fucking
Seriously.
bulldozer, dude. A buzzsaw. He's just tearing through everyone. One thing that I did take away from this fight, in this very short fight, if you will, is that Volkov for sure did his homework. I think that Rozenstruik's only defense really is he brings his head back, and in the Francis fight, took away from that fight. You put him up on the fence, dude, and just blast him. Where's he going to move his head at? It's going to go back, and you're going to fucking mollywop him. And that's exactly like what Volkov did. Sent his mouthpiece fucking flying. I thought it was a good stoppage. No issue for me. I did think it was going to go to decision, as did you, but we were fucking heartbroken there when it shed on our last legs of our parlay there at the end of the night.
Yeah, that was really the only the cruddy part about it, because of course, we both thought he was going to win by decision, but he looked like he definitely he's still one of the top guys at heavyweight, and it's interesting to see kind of how he's matched up going in the future. But yeah, he definitely, to put Rozenstruik away the way he did, he's got a chip on his shoulder for sure.
Just a great performance overall. So that being said, move on down to the next pick and the next fight of the night. Dan Ige versus Movsar Evloev. I just thought personally that this one was way too far of odds, just spread way out too far. But I got to be honest, I did fall asleep in the first round, man. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and I'm gonna let you talk about this one.
I was say, yeah, I know you got a little bit tired. Well, the worst part was that I ended up actually working, and I know it was an early card, so I had to come back and actually watch the fights afterwards. But I thought Movsar, he's a big guy for the division. And he's probably, if I can really, I guess if you really think about it, as far as the featherweight division goes, he's probably the best wrestler. Either him or Bryce Mitchell as far as the control goes. But
Did
he has
fight at 135 too, though?
As far as I know, no. As far as I know, he's only fought at 145, because him and Ilia Topuria were actually matched up earlier in the year, but that fight had actually fallen. It fell through. But if he's fought at bantamweight, he might have. I don't remember, but from the fights that I've seen, he's only fought at featherweight. But I thought him against Dan Ige, he was really able to just display his dominance in his wrestling. Now Dan Ige, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so he wasn't going to let Movsar submit him or anything. And Movsar wasn't really going for the most submissions. He was able to really establish his control. He was able to get off some good ground and pound. And just his wrestling, I think he's just going to be a problem for a lot of the guys in this division, because it was like every time Dan Ige would throw a kick, he would catch his leg and take him down. And once he took him down, it was no getting up from there. It was similar control to Islam, kind of. I don't want to say Habib, but the control that he was able to display, it was similar to an Islam type of control. So he's definitely going to be a problem for the division for sure.
Yeah. I guess one of my takeaways, if you will, was he wasn't like, Dan's really small for 145. He's not a big guy like for 145. Like when you just look at just many of the other people, like just look at like Sean Woodson, like Max, like these guys are like 6 foot plus tall, and he's like, how tall is he? Like 5'4", 5'6", something like that. So like they're not big guys. So it's just like, if
he's 5'8", yeah, Dan Ige is 5'4". He's 5'8". I say what Max is about 5'10". So not too big a not too.
But
big
there's
a
some big guys in here. I just don't know if like once he gets up to like the top of the division, is the size going to be a factor?
I think for like muscle mass wise, he's not the biggest guy, but I do think as far as just size wise, he has a pretty good reach. And I mean, from everything that I've been able to see, he's been able to establish his wrestling just against about anybody. I think really the only one that was in question was Hakeem Dawodu, and he got a little bit comfortable. Him and Dawodu were kind of talking trash there towards the end of the fight, and Dawodu kind of caught him in a striking match late in the third round, and Dawodu kind of caught him with some shots. But whenever he's wanted to establish his wrestling, he's been able to control everybody he's fought so far.
All right, fair enough. That being said, we're going to move on down to the result of the next one. Mike Trazano getting finished by Lucas Almeida in the third round. That one kind of like upset me because I'm a Mike Trazano fan. I just like to watch a dude, and he was going after it too. Like I was just really hoping that he was going to get it done, man. Anything here?
Well, I'm glad he ended up getting the bonus for fight of the night because I remember watching him on The Ultimate Fighter. Actually, he was on the season with DC and Stipe, and he was a notable fighter in that season of The Ultimate Fighter as well. I think he actually didn't he win The Ultimate Fighter?
I don't know if he
If
won
he
or not.
Yeah, for some reason I felt like he won because it was like 155 and 145 they had there, and I thought he won for 155, but I can't quite remember. But I do know watching him coming up, his style has completely changed because he was more the wrestler kind of early on, but he's definitely able to put his strikes together. I was kind of rooting for him too. Almeida definitely showed the toughness to be able to get dropped the way he did, and to be able to come back, drop him in the drop Trazano in the second round, and then the third round just put the stamp on it. But that was definitely fight of the night. They were going back and forth, and both guys were going for the finish, and Lucas Almeida was able to come up with that. But it was definitely fight of the night.
Yeah, for sure. It was a hell of a banger. That was like the last one. Then I'm like, well, no more exciting ones now. Let me just lay here on the couch. And soon after that, dude, I was fucking snoozing. Moving on down to the next one. Karine Silva.
No Ambien needed.
And moving on down to the next one. Karine Silva subbing Poliana Botelho in the first round. If you watch Change the Cheddar, I called that shit. Watch Change the Cheddar on Friday. Short little plug for you guys. That is where we try to make $100 or more off of $10 or less off of our bets. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not. But yeah, anything that one, or you want to move on down to Ode Osborne versus Zaruk Adashev?
No, just Karina Silva. She's definitely a savage.
She's got some muscle on her too.
Yeah, she's aggressive, and she hit her with that big right hand. She hit Botelho with that big right hand, and went immediately into the takedown, and from there it was all but over. And she was able to secure that Darce choke. But she's a savage, and definitely someone to be looking out for as far as where she moves on in the division.
Flyweight is really, really thin. You never know, dudes. Like it almost seems like 2 or 3 fights like a person could be fighting for the title. So Ode Osborne versus Zaruk Adashev. Go ahead, man. I'm gonna let you explain how Ode Osborne crushed him.
Yeah, man. They came out and they were aggressive, and Ode Osborne, he's definitely one of those guys. He win or lose, he's definitely coming out there and he's going to pretty much put on a big performance every time he comes out. He's usually in pretty big scraps, and he was able to take advantage of what's the guy's name again that he fought? I can't even remember the guy that he fought.
Zaruk Adashev.
Adashev, yes, Adashev. When the guy stepped in, oh my gosh, he was standing in southpaw, landing that beautiful right hook over the top, caught him clean, and then honestly, the follow up wasn't needed, but those follow up shots, he was able to really go and put the lights out, and it was a really fun fight for as long as it lasted, and that was a win that Ode Osborne kind of really needed to kind of, honestly, it was a little bit of a job saving win there for him.
Yeah, 125, man. It's just getting like fun nowadays, and there's so much talent there. But that being said, we are going to move on to the main card opener of the night. Alonzo Minifield taking on Asgar Mazarov, dude. And I said it like once again, it changed the cheddar. Once I was like, once I've seen this dude have 3 fucking different records now, this dude is a fake, a fraud, and he's going to get fucking crushed. And sure enough, dude, that is what happened. The dude's probably going to get cut. Yeah. Like there's no way he can have that. Like he.
Well, I remember
still be in the UFC. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember last week before we had found all this out when we did the podcast, and he was like, "Man, this guy's got some experience. I don't know." Right? And
right, I was just seeing his record, dude. I was like, "Damn, he's got like 40 fights."
Yeah, you're like, this guy's got some experience, man. Yeah, he's got a lot of fights. To come to find out, he pretty much lied about them all, which was super duper weird. And then apparently he was saying that he had fought under his dad's name in a couple of fights, so he didn't get credit for him and stuff like that. And it was really weird. But I don't know if you heard, but I had listened to I think it was Alonzo Minifield's post fight interview, and he was talking about
He felt disrespected.
yeah, well, that, and he was just like, he made a comment and he said that I guess he was thinking that that Asgar was like a racist or something like that, and he was like, I know you think I'm a monkey, which was super duper weird, but it was like just this, like, I don't know if it was something that he had just manifested, almost like some Michael Jordan type shit, to try to just get a chip on his shoulder. I know he said he felt disrespected by the lying about his record and everything. But Alonzo Minifield, another guy who had a chip on his shoulder, similar to Volkov, that dude, he really wanted to put it on him. And he said that Asgar was talking shit to him back and forth during the fight. He said Asgar was like, no, I don't feel those punches. Those are soft punches, talking shit to him, trying to get him, I guess, trying to bait him into a brawl. But Minifield said he wasn't going to fall into it. And that ground and pound was brutal.
He's way too smart. I actually had I think I put like $5 on him to win by sub, like only because I'm like, he's for sure going to take him down. And I mean, if it's there, he might just fucking take it. But he ended up getting him in the crucifix and just blasting him with those fucking elbows, dude. It was pretty disgusting there.
Dude, that was like some old school elbows type shit, like like Gary Goodrich type shit, like, dude, getting them down and just fucking demolishing them.
2 performances come into mind, actually 3. DC over Uzdemir, Carla over Yan Xiaonan, and Valentina over, who was it, Jennifer Maya, or was it Andrade? Yeah. Just pounded on, dude. And that has to be like the only ones, like the only fucking finishes, yeah, because like it doesn't happen too often.
Right. And I mean, how helpless do you got to feel just sitting in that bottom position and you're just kicking for dear life, but your arms are trapped and you're just getting demolished? I mean, that's just such a defeated feeling, I gotta imagine.
Yeah. So one final one that we want to talk about on this card, because we did pick on it, was Felice Herrig versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Dorian did pick Karolina Kowalkiewicz to win this. Let me ask you this: did you see her subbing her in the first round, or in the second round?
Definitely not a submission, because I did not know that Karolina all of a sudden just had these the dominant ground game that she was able to show once she got her down, dude. But this potentially could have been fight of the night too. I know the Trazano and the Almeida fight, that fight was nuts, but Felice Herrig, for her to have the time off that she did and coming off the 2 injuries, I mean, I got to give her credit too, dude. She came out, she's not the most technical striker, but she's definitely scrappy, and she's got some pretty good boxing combos when she can put it together. And she looked good for her to come off basically 2 torn ACLs and I believe about 2 years off, and she kind of wanted to come back and end her career on her own terms. But dude, Karolina, she was definitely, that was a career saving win for her, as far as she had lost 6 in a row. The UFC's definitely cutting her, dude. I mean, she was on a 5-fight losing streak. She hasn't won since Jessica Andrade knocked her out that one time. So just think about how long ago that was. Tyron Woodley was still the welterweight champion when the last time she got a win. So
she didn't
just
win,
to put that into perspective.
She didn't win since her last Felice win. That's how long it was, in 2018.
Yeah,
it's been so long.
So that's what I mean. Yeah, so for her to be able to kind of bring it back around since her last win, to bring it back around to get the finish this time, she really put on a hell of a performance, and man, you couldn't just help but feel good for her, after the fact, when she was all crying and shit, and she was just super celebratory because she knew, it was a career-saving win for her. So it was a really good performance from her, but that was also a fun fight.
Yeah, they were both on horrible losing streaks. One like a 5-fight losing streak, one a 6-fight losing streak. So Felice Herrig ends up hanging it up at the end of the day, said that she just didn't feel like she had it in there anymore. She enjoyed training, but she didn't think that she has what it takes to compete anymore in there with like the top of the division, if you will, or just anyone in the UFC. So that being said, enjoy your retirement, the little bulldog, Felice Herrig. Any other fights you want to talk about on this card, man?
I think the only one really, Tony Gravely and I was, happy with his performance. He was able to come out. I know he had the boring fight against Simon Oliveira. People were killing him. Oh, he's a boring wrestler, but the guy's pretty much put on damn fun fights every time he's been in there. And he was definitely looking a little more aggressive this time as far as trying to use his hands. He backed he backed Johnny Munoz up against the fence as soon as he did, and came through with the uppercut when Munoz goes for the takedown and just crushed him with a beautiful uppercut. And that ground and pound, the way he was able to like loop his hand around Johnny Munoz's head to not hit him in the back of the head, but wrap it around on the other side of his head was like some beautiful ground and pound. So that was a really good win by him, and glad to see him get a finish this time.
Yeah. For sure. One that I just do want to talk about for just a second was Damon Jackson, dude, over Dan Argueta. Damon Jackson was he was fighting for that one hard, dude, and that one ended up being a fucking fairly decent fight too. And then Benoit Saint Denis, once again, if you watch Change the Cheddar, dude, I told you he was gonna fucking sub him. Round 2 sub. There it is. Let's see what else we got here. Jeff Molina beats Zagula Zumagulov in a split decision, dude. Did you think Jeff Molina won that fight?
It was up in the air. I mean, I thought Zumagulov won, but I mean, seeing that Molina won, I mean, I couldn't really argue with it.
It was super fucking close. Like Molina thought he actually lost it, and then they're like you won. He was like, oh, what? I won? Yeah. Right. So and then Renat Fakhradov, dude, beats Andreas Michailidis via decision, dude. I thought he was going to finish him, but he could not finish Michailidis. Ends up being a tough guy, and Aaron Blanchfield getting the round 2 sub over JJ Aldridge with the standing guillotine. So that is the results from this past weekend. Anything else before we move on to our fight news, man?
Nah, I think we pretty much exhausted everything on that.
All right, fair enough. So our next topic, we're just going to talk about some fight news really quick. Newly announced or working on Cheyenne Velismus versus Tabitha Ricci on October 1st. We got Marlon Chito Vera and Dom Cruz in the works for August 13th. It may be signed by now. I don't know. Kennedy and Zechiku versus Carl Robeson on July 9th. That's right around the corner. And Brian Boom Kelleher taking on Mario Bautista at bantamweight on June 25th. Justin Gaethje versus Dorian. Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier 2 is being talked about for this summer or the end of the year.
I think it's like August. They're talking about August. One of the pay-per-views in August.
Indeed, and Oliveira versus Islam is being targeted for October, you said?
October, November, according to Dana White.
Okay. So that being said, just some upcoming fights, announcements and everything like that. Do you want to talk about any of those last 2 real quick before we move on? Or
man, I know the Charles Oliveira and Islam fight. I know we were kind of thinking that was going to be the matchup. But Dana White, he was pretty defensive and wanting to keep Islam against Benny D to still happen. And I don't know what ended up happening, but he was questioned the other day at I think it was like a fan Q&A that he did. And they had asked him what was next for Charles Oliveira. And usually when he says stuff publicly like that, as far as who he wants to match up, they pretty much stick with that. I mean, since he's put it into the atmosphere now, I mean, I got to think that's going to happen. And I just love the stylistic matchup just with the wrestling and then the jiu-jitsu. But I'm really curious to see for Islam. If Charles Oliveira is kind of to display his striking the way he's been able to display it against Gaethje and those guys, if he hurts Islam, what's Islam going to do? Because Islam, besides the one Adrian Moraes fight where he got knocked out, he really hasn't been knocked out. So
he
if
really
he
hasn't
gets
even
stung,
been hit since then.
yeah, he hasn't even really been hit. Well, and it's like the one time he got hit, it was like a flush knockout. So it's like the one time he got punched, he got his lights put out. But if he gets hit by Charles Oliveira, what's he going to do? So, or if he takes Charles Oliveira down, what's Charles Oliveira going to do? So, really, I think that's just a super fun matchup.
Indeed, man. I am ready for that one. And our last bit of news this week, you wanted to talk about it, so I'm going to let you run free, man. Aljamain Sterling, what's up?
No, he just had a couple of things in the headlines that I was kind of just curious to talk about. I know one of the things that he was talking about was him fighting Marab Dvalishvili. They're teammates at the same gym, and he said that if he was the champ and Marab has earned his way up to a title shot, that he would vacate his title. And if Marab was basically to stay the champion, that he would move up to 145 and fight in the 145 division. And I just wanted to see, do you think Aljamain Sterling fighting at 145, would you see any type of success like that at all from him fighting at 145?
I don't think Marab's going to make it to the dude. He's got a motor on him. I'll give him that. But dude, Marlon cracked him in their fight, dude. It shows that he can be cracked, dude. And it's like there's too many people that have power at the top of the division. So I don't know if he's going. Just to answer your question, I don't think Aljo would fare well at 145 just because the size of the dudes there. They're like literally mine and your size dudes fighting at 145, dude. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine weighing 145, dude.
No, and that's actually a really interesting point as far as you talking about Marab. So you don't think that Marab's really of that, I guess, of the top tier in the
I think he's
he's
a great wrestler. He's got cardio for days, dude. But that Marlon fight, it showed a lot to me. It showed that he can get fucking cracked, and TJ can crack. Like Corey Sandhagen can crack. It's I don't know, dude.
Sand Higgin can be taken down though, so that's the only thing. And that was another actually fight that I heard that was rumored was Marab versus Sand Higgin.
Dude, I would probably favor Sandhagen in that fight because he's got good knees, man. The knees up the middle would be a problem for Marab, dude.
Man, I don't know that wrestling with Marab, dude. If Sandhagen gets taken down, dude, that's he's able to get taken down and get controlled. We've seen it. So, I mean, it's it could happen, but that and just a little bit more Aljo news that he did say that he had a fight coming up. He was getting in fight camp, but he's been kind of keeping it close to the vest as far as who he's fighting, and there's a lot of, I guess, just questions as far as who he's going to fight next. So as far as who do you think's going to fight Aljo next for the 135 title?
It has to be TJ, right? Just because he fucking called him out and TJ never lost it, even though he's a cheater, but
well, he's also called out Jose Aldo as well, and Jose Aldo is one of those guys.
Getting that fight, no, he has to fight.
You don't think so?
I think Jose he has to get at least one more win in the top 5, dude, because he hasn't really beat anyone in the top 5. Like he beat Pedro Munoz, Dominic Cruz, yeah.
No, it was Cheetah Bear.
Yeah,
Cheetah Bear. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's like
I don't think it's just he doesn't have that.
And then he beat Rob Font too.
Yeah. I guess that was
he put it on Rob Font. And I mean, Cheetah Bear is about to fight the top 5 right now.
I just don't see Aldo. Do you see Aldo beating TJ? I don't see him beating TJ.
But dude, do you think if he's matched up against Aljamain Sterling, dude, think about the matchup
I
about
don't
that
know.
with the striking of Aljo,
It's not going to
with
work.
Aldo. I mean,
It's not going to work well in Aldo's favor, in my opinion, because Aldo only has about 2.5 rounds in him, dude, and he plays it super fucking safe. He'll try to take someone out and hold them there for the last 2 rounds, dude. And I don't think Aljo's going to play that game. Like, Aljo's going to be the one with the fucking backs, with the back takes, with the backpacks, with the RNCs.
but do you think well, I guess the interesting thing with me with Aljamain Sterling and Jose Aldo is Jose Aldo, dude, at 145, he never got taken down. His takedown defense is lights out. So do you really think someone at 135, even though Aljamain Sterling's got really good wrestling, and Jose's got to suck some of the muscle down that he has to get down to 135 as compared to where he was at 145, but man, I don't know. That's just
It
a
isn't
really
so
interesting
much
matchup for me.
of the takedown as much as Aljo causing the scramble, if you will, because if he like fucking gets an ankle and Aldo's on the ground, they don't count that as a takedown. But if Aldo pops back up and then Aljamain hops on his back, that's not really a takedown, but it's the control of it. And I just think Aljamain has great control when it comes to those scramble situations.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have with Aljamain Sterling. Just a bit of headlines that I've seen from him, and just wanted to get your opinion on a couple of things as well. Man, but I think for him in his next fight, I do think it'll be TJ. That seems like the likely fight, but don't count out Jose Aldo, as Jose Aldo has been on a ferocious tour of calling out Aljamain Sterling as well. So don't rule out Aldo by any means.
It would definitely be interesting to see Aldo get that fight over TJ. I don't
3-fight winning streak compared to 1.
But he never lost.
And TJ, right? But and then Aldo's case, hey, TJ lost the title because he got busted for steroids, and I'm here on a 3-fight winning streak. Why not me?
He also got his last title shot off of a loss too, which makes no fucking sense. So
true, it's true. But you see how the UFC treats him. They do like Aldo. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think they're going to put so much effort into him now, dude. He's older now, and I just think they understand that he's not. If he might win a championship again, but he isn't going to hold it. And that's it's just like almost like that's the goal. So that
maybe he could be like Glover Teixeira and maybe and get a title
which
later
is a
in his career.
Perfect segue into our next topic. We're going to talk about the fights this weekend. UFC 275, Glover Teixeira versus Jiri Prochazka. We're going to talk about the entire card just real quick. Me and Dorian are going to give you our picks on who we think is going to win at least 3 to 5 fights on this card, and we're just going to give a quick rundown on what we think is going to happen all together, man. So do you want to start with the main card? Do you want to start with the prelims?
We can start with the
right.
We can start with the main.
I'm just going to give you a rundown on every fight on the card real quick. So our main fight of the night, Glover Teixeira taking on Glover. So our main fight of the night, Glover Teixeira taking on Jiri Prochazka. Man, that was a tough one getting out there. Yeah. Valentina Shevchenko taking on Talia Santos. Wei Lee Jang Wae Lee taking on Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Rogerio Bontorin taking on Manel Kape. That's going to be a good one, dude. Jack Della Maddalena taking on Ramzan Emeev. Remember, the Robbie Whittaker versus Marvin Vettori fight was taken off of that one, but that was originally scheduled to be on here. Moving on to our prelims. Brendan Allen taking on Jacob Malcoon. Chu Sung Woo taking on Josh Kulabau. Wow. I'm going to say Hayasar Machete. It sounds like Misha Tate, but in a guy's form. So if you see a name that looks like Misha Tate in guy's form, that's who I'm talking about. Taking on Steve Garcia. Andre Fiallo taking on Jake Matthews. Dude, Andre Fiallo doing the damn thing. Just at it.
Busy.
In the early prelims, real quick, Kang Young Ho taking on the Bat Geary. Liang Na taking on Silvana Gomez Juarez, Lau Moldova. Ramona Pascola taking on Jocelyn Edwards, and Orion Kroos taking on, just kidding. That fight is canceled. So that is going to be it for the fights this weekend, man. So main card, dude, let's talk about it. Geary versus Glover. I cannot fucking wait for this fight, man. Do you think Glover has? I know he has a chance to win this fight, and it's a fairly good chance. Like, it's not 5-10%. It's a fairly good chance to win this fight. It only has to end up there. The thing is, Geary is a fucking madman, an animal, a buzzsaw that comes at you 100% of the time. We haven't seen him get out of 1 minute in the second round yet, dude. The guy is a fucking animal. What is Glover's path to victory here? Aside from, just take him down and choke him out. What's Glover's path to victory here, man?
I mean, really, I think for him is to not let Geary establish the control. I think really for him, Geary, I've been watching his couple of fights, and I meant to send you a thing earlier with a montage of a lot of his fights where he just puts the pressure on guys, and his pressure is relentless. So I think Glover, he just can't back down, which is very easy for me to say. But one of the things that he was able to do against Jan in that fight, and Jan, we know Polish power, we know the power that he has, but Glover didn't back down. Glover was able to actually put the pressure on Jan, was able to get Jan kind of worried about his takedowns, and he cracked him with some good with a good overhand right one of the times. He hit him with a good left hook a couple times, and then was able to get him on the ground. So I think really for him is just to try to not let Geary establish the control and get that wild style going in, and try to control the fight and control the pace.
Yeah, man, it's going to be tough though. Yeah, because Geary is like, whether you want to or not, he's a massive man. Was he like 6'5", 6'6"? Just
did you see their face-offs though? As far as
I don't think so.
Yeah, because they're both. I mean, I'm looking at the height on Google right now. Now the breach advantage is in Geary's favor by 4 inches, but dude, they're both 6'2". I mean, I seen them at the face-offs, they were definitely eye to eye. So the size difference. Now Geary his breach is longer. He's got breach by 4 inches, but no, they were definitely around the same size dude when I seen him face off yesterday.
Well, on fight night, Geary's going to have 5 inches of antenna, making him 6'7" on the night of the fight, because he's going to channel his hair power. It's going to bring all the energy. He calls it his antenna, and he's going to chamber that bitch up, and he's going to fucking sock Glover. Dude, I think he's for sure going to knock him out. Like, don't get me wrong, Glover is good. He's been around for a while, dude. But you just look back to like the Rumble fight, and he got fucking demolished there. I think this is going to look like the Rumble fight, dude. Geary is going to be and new, if you ask me. I guess, how do you think this one plays out? So is that
your official pick?
My official pick. I don't know why you already didn't know that. Of course I'm picking Geary, dude. Geary for this one is my pick.
Yeah, no, I just love your fandom of him. No, he's definitely a super fun fighter. And that dude, he puts on the pace, and his fights are just all action all the time. And for me, I think that's what's going to get him ultimately caught. I'm picking Glover to win this fight, and I think that Glover is actually going to I think he's going to do similar to the Anthony Smith fight. Because if you go back and watch the Anthony Smith fight, Anthony Smith was putting a hellacious beating on Glover Teixeira for the first 2 rounds. If you go back to the Thiago Santos fight that Glover Teixeira had, Thiago Santos put a hellacious beating on him early in the first round before Glover took him down, and then early in the second round dropped him again. One of the things that he's been able to do in his last couple of fights has been able to show his chin. Even at the old age now, he's been able to establish more of his wrestling, and I think that, man, that can opener he put on Jan Blachowicz in that fight, dude, that changed that whole fight. Dude, that according to DC, he pulled that can opener on him when he took him down and was sitting in his guard and cranked his neck, dude. That changed that whole fight, and Jan was thrown completely off his game. Glover still got the old man strength. I think Geary, his fights, they're so freaking fun. You sit on the edge of your seats. I mean, for me, he's obviously got more power, but he reminds me of Tony Ferguson. Just his wild style, his unique training, just for him to kind of be off on his own, the weird personality. So he's definitely got a lot. I can see why a lot of people like him. I think in the Volkan Oezdemir fight, he got tagged a couple of times in that fight.
Hold on, real quick. I think he went into that fight with strictly no defense, because if you saw him in the fight, I'm gonna stand up for a second. His hands are down and he's yelling at Volkan like this.
Yes,
and come on now.
but dude, he didn't do that exactly against Dominic Reyes, but he definitely had a lot of the crimson chin, leaving his chin up in the air, trying to let people punch him. And I know part of it is his defense to try to draw an attack out, but I think that's going to ultimately get him caught. I think Glover either catches him on the feet, takes him down, and subs him, or I think he gets a ground and pound. But let's go ground and pound. I think Glover gets the dub.
That is a mistake, my friend. I don't know how you think he's going to get past that pressure, dude. The pressure of Geary is like no fucking other, dude. I've never seen anyone put that pressure on someone. And it's like he's breathing hard, but it's like it's under control breathing hard. He's just like, I did that. Yep. All right. So that being said, Dorian's picking Glover. I am picking Geary. Do you want to pick on Valentina versus Talia, dude? Because
no, because I
don't want to pick on it.
We could talk. We could talk about the fight.
Yeah.
We could talk about it though. I definitely want to talk about it though, for sure.
Talk about this for just a second. So,
don't make it a part of our picks.
Yeah. But at a glance, fucking Valentina should win this fight overall. She's a fucking -600 favorite. But if you fucking look back into her fucking past fight, she was like -800, -900. So this is actually her biggest challenge in a while. So Talia Santos 19-1, dude, and the chick is big. She's got size. I gave her I guess heat for not wanting to finish fights, because dude, she couldn't finish Roxanne, and that really is like, damn, come on now. But she beat the everlasting fuck out of JoJo, dropped her multiple times, and then fucking subbed her. Dude, she has the power to finish these chicks. I'm just saying, if Valentina doesn't come out there wanting to put the pressure on, don't be surprised if this goes to a fucking weird split decision at the end of the night, dude, because the judges now, I don't understand it. It's almost like if you can look like you're landing the harder shots, even though you're not landing as much, dude, you seem to end up winning those fights. So if Talia can look like she's landing those harder shots over the 5 rounds, and fucking Valentina just isn't, I guess, pressuring her, I could see Talia Santos winning this via split decision at the end of the night. But obviously, I'm gonna go fucking Valentina should win this.
I think really the biggest thing for Santos, for her biggest keys to the fight are just not letting, similar to Glover's game plan, Valentina, she can control the distance, she controls the pace, and she doesn't really put the forward pressure on that much, but she keeps it at kicking range so she can land those body kicks and those leg kicks, and she eventually sets up those head kicks, similar to what she did with Jessica Ha. So I think to kind of, if she's going to throw hands, she's got to step in. but she can't sit right in Valentina's kicking range and let Valentina get those kicks off. Santos has definitely got power in her hands. I do think, similar to a criticism that you've had of her, I think she has a tendency to kind of sit back, almost watch her work a little bit, because you can definitely see she has the talent as far as being a great fighter. She just doesn't seem to put it all together in some fights, and I think that she definitely has the tools to be able to pull off a big win. I think Valentina is just going to be just a little bit of a step up too far. I mean, man, one of the, with her against Andrade, I thought Andrade was going to at least be some type of competition to her, and just see the way she dismantled Andrade. I see Taila Santos as a similar style fighter. Now, she is bigger than Jessica Andrade, but we've seen Andrade bulldoze chicks at 135. So for her to get bulldozed by Valentina like that, I just can't see how Valentina doesn't win. But I think Taila Santos is definitely a talented fighter. I just think she's just, no offense, in over her head.
I want to throw some stats out at you real quick. Valentina Shevchenko, 34. Taila Santos, 28. Valentina, 5'4". Taila Santos, 5'5". Both 125, obviously. Fucking Valentina, 66.5 inches, and then Taila Santos, 68-inch reach. So she's the bigger girl overall. And I think that's just what is just, I could see her winning this fight, dude, but not in a good way. I'm talking about a Rose versus Carla. Like, a lot of people are going to be fucking mad at it, but watch. Like, I could see it happening, dude. If Valentina doesn't move forward, dude, I could see her losing this fight.
I think the only thing, with the Amanda Nunes loss, I think she kind of learned from there as far as not putting on as much pressure towards the end of the fight. In that second Amanda Nunes fight, she kind of sat back and watched her work there in that last round, and I thought that was what kind of edged it out for Amanda Nunes, even though it wasn't really a great fight overall, because Valentina was doing one of those things where she sits back. Now, against Liz Carmouche, when she fought Liz Carmouche, that fight was actually kind of similar, but she put on a little bit more of the pressure at the end. She was able to establish the wrestling when she wanted to. So her fight IQ is just on another level, to where I think that she has the feeling to where if she feels like she's losing the fight, she kind of knows where to dictate to where the fight needs to go in order to get the round in her favor.
Fair enough. So obviously, I'm pretty sure we're going to both pick Valentina there to win that. So let's move on down to the next one. Jang Wae Lee versus Joanna one, man. This is going to be a banger. Pretty much one of the best fights I've ever seen in their first one. We're going for round 2 this time. I've heard it both times now, dude. Is it 5 rounds or is it 3 rounds? I don't know what what it is. I've yet to figure it out.
I haven't seen anything confirmed. As far as I was assuming, it was 3 rounds. But I mean, if it was 5 rounds, I wouldn't complain.
I've heard that it's going to be 5 rounds. I've also heard 3 rounds now. So I don't know. Zhang 21-3 taking on Joanna 16-4. So you can't steal my pick. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Zhang. I think she's gonna beat Joanna again by decision. She is going to implement her wrestling this time. She's been training with Henry Cejudo. I just think it's all the right makings. Fucking Joanna's been out for a while now. Although my girlfriend's going to be pissed at me because this is her favorite fighter. But she's heavy rooting for Joanna. I'm like, I'm sorry, babe. She's losing this fight. Who do you got here, man?
Man, I watched that first fight back last night, and I actually had to go back and kind of double take again. Man, it's so hard to tell who won that fight. It went to split decision. I remember watching the first fight and I thought Joanna won. Going back, I could see how they thought that Wae Lee won. And just that fight was it was so epic. But I actually think that Joanna is going to be able to get it done. I think that she's going to I think the time off is actually going to be a good thing for her. She's been one that, she always stays in shape. She's always training. I think for her, she only wants to fight the best of the best, and she only comes back when she's motivated to fight. So I think for her, some of the fighters can get stuck in this log where they're just almost coming back and taking fights just because it's almost part of the job. For Joanna to have the time off that she's had and then to take this fight, that to me, that's signs of her being a motivated fighter going into this fight. And I thought in the first fight, initially watching it live, I thought that she won. She's definitely got the tools to be able to get it done, and I do think that she's able to get it done. I don't think Wae Lee's going to be able to use any wrestling against her. Nobody is able to hold Joanna down by any means. So I know, Wae Lee's got some strength on her, but I don't think she's going to be able to control Joanna. And I think Joanna's going to be able to put a little bit more pressure on her this time and be able to secure the dub this time around.
I just think that Joanna's too willing to throw down even when she's not winning. Like, that's her issue. It's like, and Wae Lee has the power advantage over her. Like, she can one-shot sleep Joanna. As where Joanna's like fucking finishes have been like, she'll hurt a chick and then she'll like have them like up on the fence and just kind of unload like until the ref stops. Like, she isn't like sleeping these girls. As whereas Zhang, dude, she's got enough power, and I think it's just. She's going to have more power over the rounds. She's going to implement her wrestling, even though you say no. She's been training with Henry, dude. She's going to. She even did it in the Rose fight too. So,
yeah, but she didn't even use enough to win it though. And Joanna's takedown defense is lights. You think she's
better than Rose though?
I mean, Rose Joanna's takedown defense. Now, her jiu-jitsu, no. Rose has definitely got better jiu-jitsu, but Joanna's takedown defense or her get-ups are like, they're probably the best in the division.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody be able to. Dude, Andrade couldn't wrestle her. Andrade couldn't take her down. And I mean, if Andrade couldn't take her down when they fought,
but at the same time, Joanna played that fight real safe though. Once she got a taste of the power, dude, she wanted no parts of it for like round 2 and 3. After she got hit in the first round, she was at distance the rest of that fight. She wanted no part of that at all.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the wrestling though, when Andrade, she wasn't able to implement a wrestling, which Andrade picks chicks up and slams them on their head, i.e. Rose Namajunas, and she wasn't able to use her wrestling against Joanna at all. So just putting that into comparison against Wae Lee, who really hasn't been wrestling that long outside of the last few camps with Henry Cejudo, I just don't see how she'll be able to take her down at all.
It's a different type. Like, I wouldn't consider Andrade to have good wrestling. I would consider her to have powerful slams, good takedowns. But as far as a wrestler, I don't think so. I think that the time that Zhang has spent at, is it Factory X?
I believe so.
Something like that. Wherever it's at, Henry Cejudo's camp. I believe that enough work has been done to where she has improved enough to at least keep that control over Joanna, even if it goes there. But that being said, dude, I'm going to let you pick the last one, dude, because those are the two that I for sure wanted to pick on. I don't really care the last one that we pick on.
Yeah, I guess we could just keep it on the main card. And I know you were saying you were excited for this fight, so we can go ahead and pick on this one, the Rogerio Bontorin and Manel Kape, because I could see us potentially disagreeing on this one too.
Dude, I think Rogerio Bontorin doesn't belong in the UFC, so I don't think that we will pick different ones here. Because I usually hate on Kape, but I don't think like fucking Bontorin should be in the UFC because he can't fucking make weight.
I actually think Bontorin's going to. I actually think Bontorin's going to win the fight.
All right, here we go.
But Manel Kape, also a guy who cannot make weight at 125, and then he goes out there.
It's different.
No, it's very much the same.
At least he's exciting. At least he's exciting when he fights. Like fucking Bontorin is also boring as fuck. He misses weight and also boring. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, I think for him, just stylistically, he's a super strong dude. And I think his wrestling, I think he might be able to wrestle Manel Kape. I know Manel Kape used to train with AKA, so I know that he's kind of learned the ropes of wrestling from DC and those guys down there. But I do actually think Bontorin's going to be able to implement his wrestling. I think he's going to be able to get the dub.
All right, that's rather surprising, dude, because I usually hate on Cop. You usually like Cop.
I do too.
Like,
No. I hate on Cop too.
well,
No. I do too.
how do I say
Yeah,
this?
I mean, no, because he's an exciting fighter, but I thought that
Yeah.
O'Day Osborne stop when he hit O'Day Osborne with that knee. I thought that stoppage was early too, and he missed weight for that fight, and he was sitting there doing backflips and shit. It's like, man, no,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of him either.
I just hate the way that he fights like he's always winning, even though he's not always winning. Like he's like taunting against shit, and it's like, bro, you're not winning this fight. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think he's kind of moved away from that, in my opinion. I think he's probably going to finish Bontarine. He's probably going to knock him out. That is my official pick there, if you will. So that is our 3 picks this week, all on the main card. So pretty cool. Let's talk about real quick. Where'd it go? On the prelims real quick. Andre Fiallo taking on Jake Matthews, dude. Andre Fiallo just doing this shit week after week after week, man. Give me some rundown on what's going to happen here, man.
Dude, Andre Fiallo, dude, the schedule that he's been able to keep, he's been busy as hell. So he's been fighting in the UFC. He took the fight against Michel Pereira on January 22nd. Turned around and took the fight against Miguel Baeza. And that fight that he took against Michel Pereira, he actually took it on like a week's notice and came in, still made 170 and still put on a pretty good performance. And even though Michel Pereira was able to pull away later in that round, Fiallo gave him some trouble early. But then he took the fight against Miguel Baeza April 16th. He gets the knockout. May 7th, he turns around against Cameron Van Camp. Gets a knockout, and he turns around now on June 11th. This dude has already had we are 6 months into the year, and he's already scheduled for his 4th fight of the year. This dude is just super active. I think for Jake Matthews, I think for him, he's a very technical guy. I think he's a pretty decent wrestler. He doesn't really get hit too clean from all the fights that I've seen of him. But man, Fiallo, that dude, he finds a way to land that crushing blow. It seems his last few fights, and he's been getting into a rhythm. And I can see, I don't know if he'll get the knockout against Jake Matthews, but I do think he ends up getting the dub against Jake Matthews. But this should be a very fun fight, and Fiallo is definitely becoming a fan favorite of a lot of dudes.
For sure. I am definitely one of those guys. Like I was I like Miguel Baeza fan, Caramel Thunder, but I think it just kind of showed, dude, he just doesn't belong when he goes up against like someone like Andre Fiallo. Dude, what stands out to me in this fight, just real quick, you know Jake Matthews is only 27 years old. What the fuck,
dude? And it feels like he's been in the UFC. I mean, he's been in the UFC at least since about 2005. At least.
That's what it seems like, you know? And that's 15 years ago. Apparently, this dude has been fighting since he's been like fucking 7 years old in the UFC. But Jake Matthews, yeah, good luck, man. I think Andre Fiallo might get that dub here. So just real quick. Anything else on the prelims that you want to talk about aside? Maybe the main event of the prelims, Brendan Allen taking on Jacob Malcoon, Robbie Whitaker's teammate, but Rob Whitaker's no longer on the card. So I think Malcoon's going to get fucking crushed by Allen. If you ask me via sub, that is the way I'm calling that one.
Man, Brendan Allen, the only thing that's been a little bit confusing about me with him is that a lot of times, and I know he came out against Sam Alvey. He did have a good performance against him, and that was a good bounce back win. But man, it's almost like every time I pick him to do good and win, he ends up falling short. And then every time I go against him, he ends up coming back for the win. But I know like against Chris Curtis, I know that I like Chris Curtis, and you know that I picked him against Phil Hawes in his UFC debut to win that fight because I was like, man, Chris Curtis can crack, but I did not think that Brendan Allen will get caught in a slug match with him. And I think in the Sean Strickland fight, he did a little bit of the same thing. So for him, I think it's just trying to get himself under control. because he ends up getting caught in these slugfests and he ends up getting cracked and finished. So he's shown to have a little bit of a shaky chin, but he's a great wrestler and he just doesn't go to it a lot. But I think if he's able to kind of use all his tools that, his wrestling and his striking, I think he should be able to get an easy dub as well.
Yeah. Like fucking Jacob Malcoon is only 6-1. So, I mean, not the most experienced. For sure, someone that Brendan Allen should get the dub over. He should be a massive favorite over. Going on down to the prelims, not really too much to talk about there. So that's pretty much the fights this week. We're going to pick on 3 of them: Glover versus Geary, Jang Wae Lee, and Joanna and Bontarine versus Manel Cap. Those are, I said that's 4. Those are the 3 that we're going to pick on this week. We made our picks. Dorian is going Glover. I'm going Geary. I'm going Jang. Dorian is going Joanna. Dorian is going Bontarine, and I am going Manel Cap. Those are our picks this week. If you want to get more detailed, in-depth into how I'm going to be betting this week, make sure you check out Change the Cheddar on Friday, early Saturday morning, either one. I'll be giving you my picks, my breakdown on how I think these fights are going to go after the weigh-in, because that is a big key factor in how I make my bets, if you will, on how these guys look on the scale and how they match up on these stare downs and such. Anything else before we get out of here, man?
Nah, man, we had a good podcast, and I got some Taco Bell calling my name. So
all right. That being said, I am Matt Anderson. He is Dorian Rose. Catch us next week for the podcast. I'll catch y'all Friday, and then I'll catch y'all back here Monday for another card video. That's all from us here at the Golden Octagon. Peace.